demographic of different people as well. It's not just younger, it's also older as well. So it's good.
Absolutely. Welcome to Backstage with Cinemetro AV. I'm here with Cooper Madigan, and the reason he's here today is because we need to hear about his story. I think it's a very inspirational story, one that I believe everyone needs to hear. Why that is because when I was a kid in high school, I didn't know this audiovisual industry was a thing. I didn't know about corporate events. All I knew there was concerts. I didn't know who ran them, who set them up, or anything in between. Cooper started at age 14, I believe.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about that?
I was age 14 at Nepean Creative and Performing Arts High School, Nepean Kappa for short. They did what they called tech crew. So it would be, instead of doing sport or anything else, you could do tech crew on a Wednesday afternoon, which then when I started doing that, I looked and I went, this is what I want to do. Like, it was techie, it was very nerdy, it was very me. Just did all that for year 9 and 10. Did countless shows like assemblies, showcases. We also did various different concerts as well. And also working within the industry with the Opera House and everything. So did different jobs at other schools and stuff. So yeah.
And what was the formal training? What was that called?
So year 11 and 12, we did the entertainment industry. So it's a vet course, vet TAFE course that's run by a school teacher. So he goes and does all the qualifications to be able to teach us.
Okay. And what's his name?
Jamie Galea.
Shout out to Jamie Galea.
At Nepean High. He's honestly, if it wasn't for him showing me the potential I had back then, I don't think I'd be here today. I'd probably be working at a warehouse or doing fast food. Like, I wouldn't be where I am today.
That's awesome. So that's inspirational. That's a lot of people need to hear that, especially the younger kids coming up through high school that perhaps don't know about this industry. It's a very, very creative industry. It's an industry where not one day is the same. You get to work in multiple events all over Sydney and beyond. In terms of networking and how you got into this industry, obviously your schooling got you to a certain point in the educational side of things.
Yep.
How did you actually slide into the industry?
So after school, I went and worked at a local pub here in Penrith, Peachtree Hotel, which they also did Peachy Fridays, so a lot of DJ events. And obviously they needed someone to set up their DJ gear. So I slowly started doing that while working behind the bar. Then also transitioned into being just the sole person setting up the DJ gear, also looking after the DJs as well. And my manager, Matt Reese, used to be a DJ for you back in the day.
That's right, he did, yes.
He was, one of your, I think, just your permanent DJs, comes and did all your...
Absolutely, yeah. So at the time, we were in-house at the Penrith Panthers, and we looked after all their DJ side of things, along with the corporate AV side of things as well. He was one of our resident DJs that would come in, do Christmas parties, birthdays, gala dinners and whatnot. Lovely guy. And I remember putting up the ad on the socials that, we're looking for crew, and he tagged you, I believe.
Yeah, he tagged me. I got my resume together and I sent it straight off. Within, I think it was about half an hour, I got a phone call from you asking to come in for an interview. Obviously, I wasn't sure if I was going to get it. Obviously, coming for the interview, walked around Penrith Panthers, but also walking into Panthers, knowing the knowledge that I had, but also very green as well. So obviously schools, like, you have everything there, whereas coming into a venue where you've got to set everything up, you've got to do all that. It was very, confronting, but also very rewarding at the same time. Once I obviously got the job with you, I worked on many different events.
Absolutely. And I think that's a very important thing to touch on as well, in terms of going from a theory-based educational system to actually being on the road and setting up for events. There's an industry term that we talk about being gig fit, And at the start, it hits a lot of people like a ton of bricks. They don't know what that is because it is long hours. It is high stressful events. And with the events industry, it doesn't matter if you're setting up an event and you're late a minute or an hour. If you're late, you're late. And that's very crucial in the scope of things. But seeing you transition from a junior tech and fast tracking to, you running and being a part of the bigger events, can you tell us a little bit about that? Some of the bigger events you've ran in terms of, from concept to actually setting it up and operating and packing down.
Yeah. So my first sort of really big event I did that George, you obviously assist me with, was Merv Cartwright. I think it was 2018, 2019.
About there.
Yeah, about there. But also we had, not only that, we had Merv Cartwright, we also had a Ford, and we also had Lot 54, if you remember.
I remember that was a back-to-back weekend with very, very long hours, minimal sleep, and sleeping in the back of the vans with draping as a pillow.
Yes, very much so.
We were doing a massive amount of hours to get all these shows up and running. That's when we were a much smaller company.
Yeah.
Smaller team. And it was amazing. We looked after so many events. We had Toyota, Ford, the Merv Cartwright. So to explain to people what Merv is, what is Merv?
So Merv is Penrith Panthers' annual awards night. So it's their best of the best players from the year. Me being a Panthers supporter, I was very much so fangirling doing this, but also I was looking after the lighting
Panthers.
rig. Absolutely, go Panthers. Looking after the lighting rig, you let me take control of that because you could see that that's what I wanted to do.
Absolutely.
But also from concept to where it went, it was like, I did this. Like I looked at, like once everything was set up and that, I was like, hang on, I set all this up.
Absolutely.
This is me.
And to put it in perspective for people out there, the venue we were working in was a blank canvas. All you had was a roof and some electricity, but essentially it was a big giant circus tent at the back of the Penrith Panthers. It's no longer there. It's now apartment blocks. But we had to build everything from scratch. I'm talking about flying screens, flying line array, 30 plus moving headlights and other fixtures, multiple DMX universes. It was, there was a lot to it. And for Cooper to handle something like that, obviously he'd been with us for a little while now, but it was definitely the next step up. He was definitely swimming and not sinking. So good on you for that one. I still remember you up on the cherry picker, hanging up the festoon and whatnot, replacing light globes.
Don't even talk to me about festoon. I don't like it.
So he's our festoon specialist now.
Definitely not.
So look, we obviously lots and lots of events together. You've been coming up and up and up in Cinematro AV. But there was a bit of a downside to the journey, as there is in all journeys and all relationships. Unfortunately, COVID-19 hit. That wasn't fun at all. The events industry got hit, one of the first, or pretty much the first ones to get hit. And we went from, say, 40% jobs gone in the first day of it being announced there was a COVID outbreak, to the next day. And the next day, the other 60% went, and that was 100% all jobs gone for the year. It hit us hard, but like any other company and other people, we had to transition, we had to adapt. So yes, tell me a little bit about that break in between COVID-19 and how you dealt with it.
I mean, it was hard. Obviously, working myself to where I was, being in the industry, and then also that happening, it broke my heart. I was like, is this going to be the rest of my life? Like, are we actually going to be in COVID for the rest of our lives?
Absolutely. We didn't know what was going to happen, did we? The government didn't have answers. Nobody had answers. And again, the AV industry or the events industry was one of the first to get hit and one of the last ones to come back.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you don't realize when you're in a job how much that job does mean to you, and then having to get another job on top of that, you kind of go, I want to do this. Yeah. But obviously you had to get as what we call as an ordinary job because it was sink or swim. Like, given, working with the AV industry and everything closing, like it was just that uncertainty. Like we didn't know where we were going, what was happening, like couldn't see anyone. Like you were in four walls essentially at home.
Absolutely. And in the event industry, we lost a lot of good techs that ended up getting other jobs and never came back. So there was a big, and in some ways there still is a lot of gaps to fill from the crew that left, the training that they'd received prior, they left obviously, and then the younger people had to kind of take on that role and transition to them being, mid-level tech to a senior tech. Yeah. So there was a big gap in there between. Now I feel like that's been accelerated. It's getting back to where it used to be. Perhaps not 100%, but it is definitely getting better.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like obviously once COVID had lifted and everything started to come back, I feel like a lot of people were very hesitant to put on events. Like they're like, are we going to go back to lockdown? Like if I pay all this money, is it going to go back into lockdown?
Absolutely.
Obviously we all felt it like, are we going to be able to do our normal jobs again? Are we going to be doing the jobs that we love as well? And it's to see where it's come in the last, 3 years and how it's gone from nothing to, potential winning jobs every week and big jobs as well. Like it's huge.
Absolutely. COVID was definitely a downside. The upside that I can see in the COVID situation was the rebuilding and restructuring of Cinemetro AV, and I'm sure other companies had a similar scenario. But we were able to look at, what our strengths, our weaknesses were, and restructure. And one of the things that kept popping up was yourself.
Yep.
And, where to place you once things got back. And essentially I had the Penrith Panthers as a venue for you to look after. Explain to me a little bit about, COVID easing up and your transition into coming back into Cinemetro AV and essentially having your own venue to run and what that journey was like.
So I still remember the day you called me up. You used to, through COVID, actually call me up and be like, hey, how you doing? Just checking in, whatnot. You called me up and just said, do you want to come out for lunch? So we went out for lunch. And you just said, how would you feel about looking after Penrith Panthers? And I'm like, okay. So I did it. Obviously it was very nerve-wracking at first. Like, can I do that? Like, can I run a venue by myself? Obviously with your help as well, like your guidance, you just let me run it how I wanted to. And obviously run it to the standard where I knew the standard that you had, but then I also built on that standard as well. And the events that I did through that first year of events lifting, I was like, got to the end of the year and I'm like, hang on, I did that by myself. So it was very rewarding, very nerve-wracking start. And the uncertainty is like, are we going to go back into lockdown again?
Yeah, I think that was hanging on all our minds. Luckily, that wasn't the case, and events came back in full swing on steroids, and people just wanted to meet up and have that human interaction and not do so much of the virtual meetings. And yeah, it just propelled events, and we had back-to-back events nonstop. As the events kept coming back, we kept getting opportunities, and one of the opportunities was to look after the Western Sydney Conference Centre. That was a venue that was getting built prior to COVID. It paused during COVID, and then they started rebuilding, and it was into the final stages. By the time you're already a year into the Penrith Panthers, at that stage you already had a blueprint of how Penrith Panthers should be run. And in my eyes, and you tell me if I'm wrong in this, you use that blueprint to take it to Western Sydney Conference Centre and create your own mechanisms and ways to run that venue in the AV side of things.
Oh, absolutely. I felt like looking back now, I look at Penrith Panthers as a little community centre. Like it was a small centre for me to grow and also work out what worked, what didn't. And then obviously going over to the Western Sydney Conference Centre, which is, 1,500 capacity on people. I was kind of like overwhelmed, but at the same time I was like, if I can run that Penrith Panthers and run other events externally, what's to say I can't do it?
Absolutely.
Like pushing myself to be that person and also creating that template and also creating the template of, having someone else come and then look after it, because I built that to where it needed to be. It was from scratch. Obviously, I had to write up manuals on how to run the system. I had to do videos. I had to train people. Had to fix any solutions that come up or any issues that had come up at hand to get the venue running up to where it should be.
That was your little baby. I remember saying that to you. This is now your home. This is your new venue. Do what you need to do with it, because I'd seen what you did with the Penrith Panthers. You carried on that blueprint, and you did multiple events back to back with the Western Sydney Conference Centre, because it was such a new venue. They held fewer events, but they were much larger in scale. In terms of planning, all events in the AV side of things are planned very similarly. It's, from the foundations up, every event's somewhat the same. There's just more to it. You got to think about whether it's audio, vision, lighting, staging, and whatnot. You were definitely at the point where you could take on a venue that size. I think you were there for nearly 2 years.
Yeah.
And you've kind of like somewhat outgrown that position.
Yep.
Can you tell us what came after the venue life and looking after venues? And how you transitioned?
So after the venue at Western Sydney Conference Centre and also Penrith Panthers, I had the opportunity to train someone up to look after Western Sydney Conference Centre. And once I was out of Western Sydney Conference Centre, I became the operations manager of Sydney Metro AV. And that's not where I started. I started back junior tech to in-house tech to then technical services manager to then operations manager. And I look and I go, I've started here 10 years ago. Like, can anyone honestly say that they've grown from a junior tech to a senior tech to then an operations manager of a company? Like, I look and I go, wow, I'm so proud of where I am.
Absolutely.
And how far I've come since high school.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's an amazing journey. And I think it's a journey that everyone needs to hear, especially young ones that are coming up in the industry or don't know what to do as a career. HSC looms and everyone's putting the pressure on you, what to do, what's your next move and all that. Perhaps they don't know about what we do. The events industry is very broad. There's, we look after the audio, visual and production side, which I think this is the reason why having this podcast is so people can know a little bit about it and how you can transition into it. There's also the other events booking and other sales side of it as well. That's also interesting. But yeah, man, it's inspirational where you started when I first met you and where you are now. This is, we're just skimming the surface. We could talk about technologies. We could talk about the equipment that you've used and you've grown up with and you've transitioned and where we are now, projectors, TV screens. I personally started with CRT televisions and then we transitioned from plasma TVs, LEDs. Now we're looking after LED screens, big, LED displays and whatnot. Yeah. You know how to program all that kind of stuff. You know how to set them up. You're even doing mock-ups. You're doing CAD drawings now. Yeah. Can you talk us a little bit about that?
So when we started doing a lot of the bigger events, I had spoken to George about getting a software called SketchUp. And I had no idea what I was doing, to the point of I was YouTubing late hours of the night, training myself on how to do it. But also looking at it now, I go, I can do a SketchUp pretty quickly now. And like the drawings that I've done for different venues, I'm still changing and making it look better and stuff. And I'm like, I look at all the ones that I've done and I've gone, hang on, I created that. I've created like templates and stuff that we can all work on. And like, also it's good for like when we do a lot of production. So DJ events, the client goes, oh, we want this. All right, no worries. We come back with a SketchUp and they see it and they go, wow, that's sick.
You can give a client a quote, but it's all jargon. You can explain it to them in an email and break it down. But again, they're just words. When they visually see a rendered mock-up of what they're going to receive or what their stage or production is going to be like, it changes it all together. And Cooper's amazing at that. And I look at some of the mock-ups that you did originally into where you are now. It's night and day. And again, that's another side of it. If you think about it, that's almost like the architectural side of the AV industry. You got the technical side, you got the crewing side, you got the, all those kind of mechanisms with the AV industry. And again, it's broad. look after corporate events Monday to Friday. Weekends, we look after the live entertainment events. And what does that mean? That means bands, DJs, and whatnot. And the corporate events are conferences and, gala dinners. And we look at everything in between. So, looking back, what would you say made the biggest difference in your career? Was it a person? Was it an event? What has inspired you to keep going and growing?
I guess so. If I look back, there would be one person in particular that has obviously seen something in me from such a young age, and that's you. Like, you gave me my first shot at being in the industry, and obviously it was rewarding. Like, seeing where I've come 10 years later.
Mm-hmm.
It's awesome.
Thank you for that. I was a junior tech once.
Yeah.
I remember I didn't know how to gaff a cable on the ground.
Yeah.
And been nervous on my first gig. So we were all there at one stage. And one thing I'm not really cool with is senior technicians talking down to junior technicians, or senior technicians and ignoring others around them just because they're at the level they are. I think we can all teach, we can all learn. And part of the reason when I wanted you to bring you on to this podcast is people need to hear that journey.
Yeah.
There. We all have to start from somewhere. You know what I mean? You didn't know this industry was a thing as well as much as I. You essentially got into a certificate at Nippy and Kappa. Again, shout out to Jamie. Still inspirational. I believe you guys are still in contact.
Yeah, we talk a lot still. Every time I'm putting something up about work, he's always messaging me about it. It's like, that's sick. Like, and it's, I've got a lot of teachers from my old high school, and they look and they go, wow, like, he's actually made something of himself. And I've got friends that I used to go to school with, and they're like, you actually did something with your life.
Absolutely.
I'm working at a warehouse. Like, what have I done? I've done nothing.
Again, going back, it's giving people a chance. As you probably know, I'm very good at putting people in the deep end and letting them swim, never sink, because they're always assisted. I'm always around, and I'm always there to help mentor in a way, or explain the technology we've got in front of us. The AV industry, over time you figure it out. You've got to think differently to most people, especially when it comes to troubleshooting and critical thinking on the spot. What makes a good technician is someone that can troubleshoot. What makes someone good at troubleshooting is someone that's started from nothing and worked it out, and then slowly started figuring out there's certain problems in whatever technology we're facing are always coming up, and they're kind of the regular ones. Where it's connecting a HDMI cable to a computer. Why isn't this working? Then you work it out. It's a resolution issue and whatnot. All the way to, you're doing your first quote, running your first venue, doing a site inspection. Now you're managing multiple venues, multiple events externally with Cinemetro AV. I think that's very inspirational. What would you say, what advice would you give people that were perhaps looking at this industry from afar and going, what is it? How do I get into it? Is there any advice you can give them?
I guess if you feel like you're a bit of an outsider, bit of a nerd, and you like technology, give it a go. Like, you never know what this industry can open up for you. You can go into different avenues, like in terms of like videoing, cameras, but also like going into live sort of things like TV. There's a whole different range of avenues you can go into. But also just don't give up on yourself and actually do what makes you happy. Don't listen to what everyone else says. Like, this industry, I'll admit, it is hard. It has its days where you're exhausted. You feel like giving up, but you don't, because you love what you do, and you look and go, I've done this. Now let's keep going. Like, it's great. Like, I would never, if someone come to me and said, what would it be to get in the industry? I would potentially take them under my wing and say, come with me, I'll show you what to do.
And tell us, it's for a very long time, especially when I first started, it was very much a male-driven industry. I've noticed over time the gender representation has, mixed a lot more. I know recently we did an event and we had 4 female techs on the crew, helping us set up. So it's not just a male-driven industry. There's a lot of amazing females out there that are on par with the senior techs, and it is amazing to see that.
Absolutely.
So I think it's important that, you know, the gender gap closes even more. I've met a lot of amazing female techs out there that are willing to roll up their sleeves and load up trucks and whatnot, and the knowledge base is shared among all. Also the age of people coming in the industry. You know, we're talking about, you know, young people coming in the industry. I've along the way met, you know, people that worked in the hospitality industry, perhaps a chef, that saw what we did and they're like, you know what, I want to jump ship and join the industry. What can you say about the industry and what appeals to you about it?
I mean, when you look at it, yes, like say 4 years ago, 5 years ago, before COVID, it was a very much so a male dominant industry. Like, it's not for the faint-hearted back then, like, but now you see a lot of different ages ranging from 18 to, you know, close to their 50s, if not 60s, still in the industry, but also the females. Like, you see them on the jobs and you're just like, you see them lifting concrete weights, sandbags, truss, and you're just like, they're showing me up. Like, they can lift things more than what I can. And it's like, wow, it's really good to see. And it's also, it just goes to show that this world has changed in terms of diversity as well. Like, where I see a lot in other industries as well, it's becoming more of a, like, you know, male and female dominant industry now. Like, it's not, you know, oh, females can't do this industry. It's like, it's both now. It's good to see, like, finally it's making them feel like they're wanted in different industries now.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's like an evolution of the industry where the gender gap is closing. Different ages are coming on the industry. You also had a lot of retirees during COVID come back to the industry, you know what I mean? Because there were those gaps, you know. People were calling in their old friends who had retired and they're like, you know what, there's gaps, come join us. And it's a kind of industry as well that it doesn't matter 100% how physically fit you are, because you will get fit as you are in the industry. It's almost like going to the gym in certain aspects. Yeah. But then there's also like the other side of it. You got the office side where you're quoting, invoicing, client liaison, site inspections. You could essentially be a technical director if your knowledge base is that high up that you know a bit about everything. That's how you can become a technical director or TD, and you can manage the crew. And obviously then you've got everyone else below you doing the actual work. So again, it's a bit of everything. It's a bit for everyone. And it's very important that people know this industry and what it's all about, because a lot of people go to concerts and they're like, oh, amazing lights, amazing visuals, LED screens and audio systems. But how does it all come together? How does it all, you know, go from concept to delivery? Yeah, absolutely. Actually, just on concerts, am I the only one that actually just goes to a concert and actually enjoys it? Or do you go to the concert and be like, looking at all the fixtures, looking at everything? Yeah, absolutely. My head's always up in La La Land, looking at all the lights and truss and movers, and it's always kind of like, oh, what knowledge base can I bring back to Cinemetro AV, and how can we do things better? Yeah. And what technologies are other companies using that perhaps we can use at Cinemetro AV? Again, it's ever evolving, where it's gender equality, age gaps, and equipment and technology essentially. Well, that's it. Technology is just, from when I started, like, VGA was the in thing. Like, you had HDMIs, but it wasn't, you know, robust because it was still being developed. Whereas, like, you know, VGA was slowly getting passed out, and then you kind of see a VGA adapter or a VGA vision switcher and you go, wow, that's old. Yeah. And it's like only 8 years ago that we were actually using vision switches like that. It's what the hell? I still get nostalgic when I see a VGA cable or a VGA patch point along the way. Yeah, of course. You know, there's pros and cons to technology, and I think HDMI, obviously it's HD, it's what we all use, it's somewhat the industry standard. However, we can go on about technology, but it does have its weaknesses as well. Yes. There's no locking mechanism, and it's very, very fragile, where I feel VGA, it doesn't matter, 1 or 2 pins wear out, you'd still get some sort of image, even though it wasn't the right color. It was flickery. In some ways it was better in that sense, its robustness. HDMI not so robust. But I guess the happy compromise is SDI cabling.
Yeah. Well, that's it. SDI it's honestly when you're trying to roll it up, you hate it. Especially when it's a 100-meter cable, you feel like you just want to hate your life.
Absolutely.
But obviously just running that one cable and having a decimator at each end and then coming straight HDMI, you're just like, oh, wow. Like you look at the quality as well and you just go, what the, like out of that one cable, which is, it's fantastic. Like the technology that is coming through these days. It's phenomenal.
Yeah. SDI carries audio, vision. Yeah. And it's very, very robust. I guess to wrap things up, what advice would you give someone starting in the industry, someone that's looking at it from afar and wanting to get into it and they just don't know? They're like, do I get into it? Do I not get into it? I guess explain to me the hardships of it, the truthfulness of it, but also the gratification you get from standing back, watching a show you've just created and go, wow, I did that.
Yeah. I guess I'll start off with the last bit. Don't give up. If it gets hard, and I will say that it is a long journey. Like you've got to put in the hard yards essentially to get where you want to be, but also, you've got to, it's not what you know in this industry, it's who you know. Essentially like if you work as a freelancer for different companies, each company has different, ways of doing things. Whereas if you find a company that's willing to take you on and willing to teach you, it's great. If anything, I would say just don't give up. Stay in this industry, learn from people, and also don't be afraid to put yourself out there as well. Sometimes it's good to actually, put into perspective that I don't know everything. To this day, I'm still learning stuff. There's things I'm still getting taught. So you got to always go, I don't know everything. I can still be taught things. And also, just be true to yourself and also just have that drive and, don't give up.
I think that's, you put it perfectly. The only things that I personally add to it is it's mentally draining. It's physically draining. However, the rewards are multiple. It's definitely a very rewarding industry to get into. And, events are non-stop at the moment. And like I said, we could go from conference events to, live entertainment events. You got TVs, you got studios, TV studios, recording studios. Where you end up is you never know where you're going to end up, essentially. I've got a friend who was working for Fox Studios, getting audio from movies and having 100 tracks in the one scene. And that's how he transitioned into the industry. Now he's looking after the big blockbuster movies. Yeah. So where you can end up, you never know. It's just putting yourself in that situation where you're making that decision, go, you know what, I'm going to check this industry out. I'm going to see what it's all about. And then from there, you transition. And like you said, sometimes it's not what you know, it's who you know. You never know where you're going to end up. Knowledge, you can always learn. And that's something that I'm a believer in, that, just because you're a junior tech and, you're just starting out and you're a little bit scared of technology, don't worry about that. You will learn. At the end of the day, as long as you've got the drive and you've got the passion for it, you're going to do what Cooper has done. And Cooper's journey is not over yet. We're still transitioning and we're still evolving with technology. So, hats off to you.
Thank you.
Well done. I'm glad you were able to explain or tell people your story because it's a very important one.
Yeah, absolutely. It's, looking back in November 2016, I started with you.
Oh, there you go.
And next year it's 10 years.
Wow.
So
what a journey.
Absolutely. Been putting up with me for 10 years.
Can't get rid of you.
You're never going to get rid of me.
Part of the furniture.
Absolutely.
No, but thank you for coming on. Thank you for our viewers. I hope it was a little bit inspirational. Please show this to your loved ones, people you care about, because people need to know about this industry. It's an amazing and highly rewarding industry, and we'd love to see more of you.
Absolutely, I would.
Thank you.